Today's reading, February 24th, Exodus 7, Job 24, Luke 10, and 1 Corinthians 11. I'm going to end in 1 Corinthians 11, but I'm going to start in Exodus 7. And it's kind of an unassuming chapter in the sense that you might look at it and think nothing happens, at least completely. It's the beginning of Moses and Aaron going to Pharaoh and asking him to let God's people go. And, the answer, of course, is no. And so the water of the Nile is turned to blood. And that's where it kind of ends, chapter. And so, on first glance, you think, oh, that's kind of didn't work. But what I just want to take note of here is just listen to the beginning. The Lord said to Moses, "See, I have made you like God to Pharaoh, and your brother Aaron shall be your prophet. You shall speak all that I command you, and your brother Aaron shall tell Pharaoh to let the people of Israel go out of his land. I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and though I multiply my signs and wonders in the land of Egypt, Pharaoh will not listen to you. Then I will lay my hand on Egypt and bring my host, my people, the children of Israel, out of the land of Egypt by great acts of judgment. The Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord when I stretch out my hand against Egypt and bring out the people of Israel from among them." Moses and Aaron did so. They did just as the Lord commanded them. He's telling them, look, I'm sending you. It's not going to work, but go anyways. And eventually, the people will be free, and everyone's going to know that I am the Lord. Now, when we get instructions, sometimes we want to know what's the end result, how's it going to turn out, and if you're being told, hey, I'm going to give you a call, a direction, here's the things for you to do, but it's going to be very obstinate, it's not going to go as well, but in the end, here's what it's going to look like. You have a choice to obey and to go forward, even when you don't completely understand it all, or trust your own instincts. And here Moses and Aaron believed God. He says, I will harden Pharaoh's heart, I will let the people go, the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord. It's going to take some time for all those to play out. But they did as the Lord commanded. And, remember a little bit ago, Moses was fearful of this. He said, I don't speak well. I'm not sure if I'm the right guy. Get somebody else. And God was convinced he had the right guy. And now they're ready to do all that God asks of them. The results aren't up to us. The obedience is. So where and how that looks in your life, well, it's going to be varied. It's probably not going before kings, but wherever you are, whatever is going on, obey and walk and watch and see God work in and through obedience. Leave the results to Him, but do what you're called to do. So, I want to close in 1 Corinthians 11, in the latter part of the chapter, Paul talking about the Lord's Supper. And, church in Corinth, kind of a messed up church. They were doing a lot of things wrong. And so, he's spending the both letters of 1 and 2 Corinthians, addressing the various things that they're not doing well, they're not doing right, they need to do better. And communion, the Lord's Supper, is one of them. And so he brings it back to, this isn't a time to party and to get drunk. This is a time to be thinking of the Lord. And so here's how it came to me. Here's how I understand the Lord's Supper. And so he says in verse 26, as often as you eat this bread and drink the cup, you proclaim the Lord's death until he comes. Verse 27, whoever therefore eats the bread or drinks the cup of the Lord in an unworthy manner will be guilty concerning the body and the blood of the Lord. Let a person examine himself. So if you eat of the bread and drink of the cup. So if anyone eats and drinks without discerning the body, eats and drinks judgment on himself. That's why many of you are weak and ill, and some have died. If we judged ourselves truly, we would not be judged. So he's saying, look, you're playing around with something that's above your pay grade. These aren't things to take lightly, the emblems, the symbols of what Jesus has done. And so you're proclaiming the Lord's death until he comes. A past event and a future hope. And so judge yourself rightly. You're not going to be perfect, but make sure there's a clear slate. Make sure you're doing it in the proper way, the manner in which God's prescribed. It's kind of like the children of Israel, how they often wandered and wanted to worship their own way, and God's like, oh, this is the way. And Paul's letting the church in Corinth, letting us know we should judge ourselves, keep our accounts short, and then when we come together, we can together remember what Jesus has done in and for us. Until next time, keep growing.